Well, hello there, boys and girls, and it is Wednesday already. And I have my PE gear on again today because today is Wednesday Zoom PE Day. And it starts, as always, at 11:15 and finishes at 11:15. So 10:45. And all of the passwords and IDs and things will all be up on Class Story for you. Also on Class Story later today, I'm going to post a few videos related to our world around us topic. It's a little mini topic we're doing called Protecting Our Planet. And you'll have a little pack, a little world around us pack in your pack, and we'll be working through it this week and next week. We'll not be doing all of it this week. Okay, so keep an eye out later on Class Story and I'll explain it all to you then. But first of all, let's do our work for today, our literacy and our numeracy. And we'll start, of course, as always, with writing our date. And our date today is Wednesday, the 10th of February, 2021. That's Wednesday, the 10th of February, 2021. And let's have a look through our spellings, which you can repeat after me. Jaw, jeans, June, July, page, change, large, giant, gentle, edge, bridge, and juggle. Then for our sounds in focus, we've just one activity left to look at, and it's the challenge at the bottom, okay? So we'll just read through the questions here, and each answer is one of your list words up here, all right? Which month starts with J and has 3 sounds? Okay, so you're narrowing it down already to months, so it's either June or July. Which one has 3 sounds? And if you look back through Monday's video, if you're stuck, you'll hear me sounding out all of the words on your word list. Which month starts with J and has 7 letters? Which month has 2 sounds? And boys and girls, I'm just realising there I said something wrong there to you. I said all the answers were in the word list, but they're not. They're months. You see all the questions start with which month. So they're all months of the year. Sorry about that. So we said which month has 2 sounds? Which month has 4 sounds and 4 letters? Which month has the same number of sounds as November? Which month has O and O sounds in it? Sorry, which month has and O sounds in it? And that's a month that has a lot of O's in it. So that's your clue. It has an sound like orange and an O sound like boat. And finally, which month ends in L, an L sound? One month ends in an L sound. Then we move on to our literacy work for today, and today we are looking at letter writing. And in this day and age, a lot of people forget about letter writing because we're so used to sending emails and texts and WhatsApps that sometimes it's just lovely to receive a nice letter. And today we're going to practice letter writing, and it's all laid out for you. So it's going to be a letter from Goldilocks, and her letter is written to the 3 bears. So let's start by looking at the top right-hand corner of your letter here, and you'll see it's an address. But it's not the 3 bears' address. It's the address of the person writing the letter. So why do you think Goldilocks has put her address at the top of the letter that she is sending to the 3 bears? Because their address will be on the front of the envelope, but hers is inside on the letter. Well, that's because she's hoping that the bears will write back to her. So when you write a letter to someone, you put your own address in the top right-hand corner so that they can write back to you. They can send a reply, and your address will be right there for them to copy. So Goldilocks here has put her name and her address. Goldilocks, 5 Buttercup Lane, the village. Then on this side of the page, she goes down a little bit. She leaves a little bit of space. If it was lined paper, she would skip 2 lines. and then she's written, Dear Three Bears. Dear Three Bears. And at the very end, when she's finished her letter, she has, From Goldilocks. Kiss, kiss, kiss. Now, why do you think Goldilocks would need to write to the three bears? Well, I think Goldilocks has some apologising to do, doesn't she? I'm sure you all know the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, but if you have forgotten it, there are hundreds of versions of the story on YouTube. So you can have a look at a story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. But just to sum it up for you, she went into their house, they were out for a walk. She was feeling hungry and she saw 3 bowls of porridge on the table. She didn't like Mummy and Daddy's porridge, but she did stick spoons into it and start trying to eat it. Then she left those aside and she ate all of Baby Bear's porridge. Then she tried out all of their chairs, and the only one that was comfortable was Baby Bear's chair, even though it was a bit small. So she sat on it and she broke it. Then she was feeling really tired, so she went upstairs to the bedrooms and she tossed and turned in Daddy Bear's bed and Mummy Bear's bed, didn't like either of them, got herself into Baby Bear's bed and fell fast asleep. And then, who came home? The bears. And what did Goldilocks do? She jumped up and ran away. So she has some apologising to do. So she could say something like, Dear Three Bears, I am writing to apologise for my behaviour in your home. I am sorry that I ate your porridge. I'm sorry that I sat on your chairs and broke the baby's chair. And I would also like to apologise for messing up all of your beds and sleeping in one of them. And I'm sorry that when you saw me, I ran away. Please forgive me. However, you might think that Goldilocks is actually a little rascal. And if that is the case, you can write a different letter. You could write to complain to the bears about your time in their house. You could complain and say, Dear Three Bears, I am writing to say what a terrible time I had in your house. 2 out of your 3 bowls of porridge were disgusting. I didn't like them. And the last one, I really could have used a lot more of because I was still hungry after I had it. Your chairs weren't very comfortable either, and the only one I liked was much too small for me and much too flimsy because it broke. Your beds weren't much better either, and when I finally was able to lie down and fall asleep, you 3 woke me up and I had to run home. I had a terrible time in your house, and I feel you should write back to me to apologise. So boys and girls, you decide what kind of girl you think Goldilocks is, and I really look forward to reading your letters. Now, if you want to do lines on this before you start writing, that's fine. You can draw some lines on your page, just so your writing doesn't go sideways, or you might be happy just to write it on the blank paper, okay? And I look forward, as I said, to reading your letters. For our maths today, boys and girls, we are continuing on looking at bar charts. Now, this bar chart is slightly different from yesterday's. Yesterday's, as you know, went straight up and down, and this one goes out to the side. Yesterday's we were counting up in 1s. Today we are counting up in 2s. If you have a ruler handy, boys and girls, you might want to take it out to help you with this activity as well. Or really anything with a straight edge. Even a hardback book or something would do your job for today. All right? So we'll just keep that there for now, aside. And we'll look at the questions. Well, first we'll just look a wee bit at the actual chart. So the title of the chart is Waiting Times. So every chart has a title. And there are different rides here. The big wheel, the swing boat, the parachute, the log flume, and the roller coaster. And this time, these bars are showing how long you have to wait to go on each ride. So for example, for the roller coaster here, if you follow the bar over to the end and go down, you will see that the wait for the roller coaster is 10 minutes. And at times like this, you can use your ruler to help you just to make sure you're going down to the right number. All right. So now let's look at the questions. Which ride has the shortest waiting time? Well, that one's easy enough, so you're just looking at the ride with the shortest bar. Question 2 then asks you about various waiting times. It asks which ride has a waiting time of 10 minutes, 13 minutes, 9 minutes, and 15 minutes. Now, as you see, some of those are odd numbers. So for example, there, number 13. You might be wondering, well, this goes up in twos in even numbers, and I can't see 13 anywhere. So how am I going to find the ride that has a waiting time of 13 minutes? And this is where your ruler or straight edge will come in handy, because if you look down here at the bottom, where it says 12 and where it says 14, halfway between those two numbers will be 13, okay? 12, 13, 14. So we'll put our ruler in halfway between these numbers and we'll find the bar that stops at that number. Okay, so let's just straighten it up here. Okay, so which ride has a waiting time of 13 minutes? Which bar stops at 13 minutes? And you would use the same technique for 9 minutes here and 15. You would look for which bar stops between 8 and 10 minutes. And here, which bar stops between 14 and 16 minutes, with 15 in the middle. Question 3 then asks you to compare the rides and says, how much longer is the wait for the parachute ride than for these other rides? So how much longer is the wait for the parachute than the log flume, than the swing boat, and than the big wheel? Okay, so you're comparing 2 bars each time. Finally then, question 4 asks you, why do you think each ride has a different waiting time? So why does the parachute ride take much longer, for example, than the swing boat? Have a think, discuss with the grown-up, and decide why you think each ride has a different length of time that you have to wait for it. All right? As always, boys and girls, continue on with your accelerated reading as well, and also with Some Dog, which is so good for keeping those math skills fresh, okay? Don't forget PE today at 11:15, and keep an eye on Class Story for those World Around Us videos as well, all right? Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.